Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Gonna be going over some very interesting news in that Borderlands 3 outsold Borderlands 2 on PC. Now, obviously, this is a very interesting story to go over because Borderlands 3 was relegated to the Epic Game Store. A lot to digest here. A lot of factors are in place, but I do want to talk all about that. And also, speaking of the Epic Game Store, let's just talk all about EGS. Batman Arkham Knight DLC is now free via the Epic Game Store as well, so that's really good because the Arkham Knight DLC is actually pretty substantial. We'll cover that quickly at the end of this video. Alright, first up, this Borderlands 3 news is really making the rounds right now, and there's a lot of ways to dissect it, but I want to give you guys my objective viewpoint. Always try to be as objective as possible when it comes to EGS. Yes, I've had my criticisms, but I talked very highly of them when they gave out 6 free games. And when it comes to the exclusives, look, if you want to acquire exclusives, just acquire them without inherently promoting them on Steam first, and I won't bitch about it too much. But let's go over the press release from 2K Games about Borderlands 3. Today, 2K announced that Borderlands 3, the latest entry to the renowned shooter-looter franchise, has unleashed further mayhem by achieving multiple record-setting milestones for both the series and label following its worldwide release on Friday, September 13th. Within its first 5 days of launch, 50% more consumers purchased Borderlands 3 versus sales of its predecessor, Borderlands 2, making the title the fastest-selling in 2K's history. Now, you can't come to a distinct conclusion off that because how many people bought the game on consoles, however, as well as making it the highest selling title for the label on PC in a 5-day window. In addition, Borderlands 3 has sold in more than 5 million units in its first 5 days, leading the Borderlands franchise to generate more than $1 billion in net bookings and becoming the second franchise in 2K history to achieve this milestone. Now, that's gonna upset a lot of PC gamers because everybody wants Epic Game Store releases to fail, or a lot of people do. However, we should probably rephrase that because I think it's becoming more and more apparent that yes, because over-the-top complainers, myself included at times, I think it's really becoming apparent that a lot of us are in the vocal minority. Are these EGS releases taking away from Steam releases? Absolutely, but here is the thing. If a game is big enough, it goes to show that people will go out of their way to play the game on a different platform. Now, you can make the argument, and this is a completely legitimate argument, that Borderlands 2 released all the way back in 2012. PC gaming was not what it is back in 2012 versus what it is now. There's a lot more people playing PC games and there's a lot more PC gamers. I think that's a fair assessment to make. Maybe I'm wrong about that. There's really no quantifiable metric based on that. Obviously, there have been more Steam accounts created, but how many of that is duplicate accounts? We could dissect that forever. However, going back to 2012, I distinctly remember that Borderlands 2 was a very, very popular game. It is not like that game failed at all on PC. It sold very, very well. There was a lot of promotions running, and that game did a lot of sales on PC. It was one of the talking points in late 2012 about people playing games, and I distinctly remember when people were buying PCs in fall of 2012, can that PC run Borderlands 2 well? At that time, it was really, can that PC run Borderlands 2 well? Can it run Crysis 2 well? And can it run Battlefield 3 well? Battlefield 3 at that point was a year old, but I just remember that was the imperative statement you heard over and over and over again. Can that PC run Battlefield 3? Man, I am dating myself quite a bit right now, but nonetheless, always fun to go back down the rabbit hole a little bit. But yeah, Borderlands 3 doing this well, I think opens the floodgates for Epic Games to really hunker down and be like, alright, we invested a ton of money into Borderlands 3, but this game sold really, really well. We don't have official numbers, but we do know it did better than Borderlands 2, and in my opinion, that is going to make Epic Games think, alright, we have to go into acquisition mode. We have to acquire more major releases, whether that be an upcoming release of Red Dead Redemption 2. Epic Games has a ton of money with the backing from Tencent. You know that they're at the very least going to make a play for that. They are going to make a play for Red Dead Redemption 2. If you think otherwise, you are foolish, you are gullible as hell. And go back to my video I uploaded where I gave you guys all the evidence of Borderlands 3 being an Epic Game Store exclusive. And I had so many people in the comment section of that video being like, Mush, you're just a fearmonger. Mush, I don't think Borderlands 3, a game of that magnitude, is going to be an Epic Game Store exclusive. I had one of my good friends really lash out at me. I remember this distinctly because he thought I was being ridiculous of even considering the notion of Borderlands 3 being an EGS exclusive. And look at what happened. A lot of the times the writing is on the wall, and in the case of Red Dead Redemption 2, that would be a massive get for Epic Games, and you know that they're gonna be making plays for other major releases. Let's see what other publishers really do go into the Epic Games Store business, because we already know for exclusivity for Control, they were offered $10.5 million. How ridiculous is that? $10.5 million? I think, however, for a game like Control, there were more ramifications for that game not selling as well on the Epic Games Store, because leading up to the release of Control, that was very much a game people were on the fence about, and going with the Epic Games Store could have been a deal breaker for a lot of people where they were like, alright, I'm not getting that game anymore. Borderlands 3, on the other hand, that is a major release, and there was a lot of people that were already of the mindset that, okay, I'm buying this game anyway, and they ended up buying it on the Epic Games Store. Now, it is interesting that they don't go into specific numbers, so you really have to also assess how much of this is PR talk, but we do know Borderlands 3 outsold Borderlands 2 in the 5-day span on PC now in 2019 versus back in 2012. Now, if the game released on Steam, would it have sold better? Absolutely 100% yes, but you also have to assess the fact that Epic Games Store, we know they gave a boatload of money for Borderlands 3. If they gave $10 million for Control, you think they got away with giving $10 million for Borderlands 3? No, I would imagine that it was either 30, 40, 50 million dollars. They forked over a ton of cash for this one. And look, 2K is gonna make out like bandits. They got to release the game on the Epic Games Store. It seemingly did pretty well. EGS gave them a lot of money, and then 7 to 8 months down the line, they're gonna turn around and re-release that game on Steam. And I bet you the game is gonna sell pretty well on there. I even put out a Twitter poll, I believe last month, and I asked people, and this Twitter poll got 500 votes, so that's a significant amount of people, not a colossal amount of people, but that's a decent sample size, on whether or not they were going to buy Borderlands 3 on EGS, whether they're going to wait for the Steam version, or they were going to skip the game altogether. It was an overwhelming vote for people just skipping the game altogether. There were some people that said they were going to wait for the Steam release, and there were very few people saying that they were going to buy the game on EGS outright. I think that kind of goes to show that my audience is a little bit different than the general PC gaming audience, where a large portion of them are okay with jumping through a little bit of a hoop and getting the Epic Games Store downloaded. And you also have to assess the fact that Borderlands 3, I feel like, is the kind of game that Fortnite players would be all over, from its more cartoony look to its cooperative gameplay. So you also have to assess that factor. There's a lot of things that come into play. I wish we got specific numbers. I am so fascinated by the idea of how much money did Epic Games fork over for Borderlands 3 exclusivity, but I think at this point EGS is gonna become a player. It's scary to some people, however, this might also make Steam up their game. I think Steam is doing some things in the right direction. I don't think it's ever gonna get to a point where Steam is also gonna be throwing money at developers to get their game on PC, just because that might set a precedent for Steam. They've already got all of these games released on Steam, and there's just so many things to weigh when you're assessing all of this. I'm not even trying to be incredibly positive about the Epic Games Store. I'm just trying to bring you guys the facts. And the fact is, at this point, Borderlands 3 has seemingly sold very well, and that's even increased by the fact that 2K did get a gigantic upfront check. Now, you can also go back to Metro Exodus. That had a seemingly a similar result, where Metro Exodus, I believe, outsold Metro Last Light. However, I feel like the Metro franchise is a little bit different in that Metro franchise over the last 6 or 7 years grew exponentially. Last Light was a pretty big release, and people were talking about that game here and there, but I remember it was not as big of a release as Borderlands 2. Do not get it twisted. Borderlands 2 was a huge release on PC. Until we get definitive numbers, I can only speculate on some of the aspects of this. I wish we got those definitive numbers, but unfortunately that isn't the case. And lastly, more EGS talk. I do want to mention that Batman Arkham Knight DLC is now free on the Epic Games Store as well. Check it out for yourself. Of course, EGS has been giving away 6 free Batman games since last Thursday, including the Batman Arkham Collection, which has Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight, and you can get the Lego Batman titles as well. Now you can check out the DLC. That includes the story expansion Batgirl, A Matter of Family, the short story episodes Harley Quinn, Red Hood, Nightwing, GCPD, Lockdown, Catwoman's Revenge, and Robin Flip of a Coin, plus new quest skins and racetracks. So all of that available on EGS right now as well. And that's gonna conclude this video, guys. I imagine that this is gonna be a little bit more of a controversial video just because I'm trying to come at this as objectively as possible. And again, there's that side that is digging it, they like the free games, and I'm trying to stay in the middle, and seemingly I just end up pissing off both sides. But nonetheless, That's gonna conclude this video. Definitely let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Did you buy Borderlands 3 on PC? Do not be scared to admit it. I'm not gonna hold it against you. Look, if you want to play a game and you went through a different launcher to download the game and play the game, I'm not gonna hold anything against you. It's totally fine. I know it was one of your guys' most anticipated games. It is what it is, so let me know in the comments if you guys have a request for a future video. You can leave that in the comments as well, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.